These were the shoes that I bought with me to Ireland. What's up, everyone? So I just got back from a week's trip to Ireland. It was a great time. My wife and I did a lot of sightseeing. There are videos going up on this channel about our experiences, and I'll post one up right there. And I've also created a playlist called Ireland Vlogs. Definitely take a look for that. I have a couple more videos in the works. So we traveled there for a wedding, and we got there a week early, and on our last day was the wedding. So I had to really think about what shoes and what clothes I was gonna wear, but I really had to think about what shoes was I gonna wear, because this is not just a wedding that I was driving an hour or two to in a car. This is a wedding where we had to travel thousands of miles away. Now, for weddings, I typically like to wear something like my Allen Edmonds McAllister wingtip Oxfords, or if it's appropriate, I'll wear something like the walnut strands. These have the leather soles. They both have leather soles, but these are my picks for wedding, and I always like to wear a suit as well. It's just really nice to wear classic dress shoes and a classic suit to a wedding. However, since we were traveling so far and we were going to be there for such a long time, I didn't want to bring just one pair of shoes to wear for one night and then that's it. Suitcase storage space, luggage space is precious, so I wanted to bring something that was super versatile, that I could dress up, but also if I had to walk a long time in, or if it rained, I wanted to bring something that could actually do a little bit more than just a leather-soled dress shoe, even something with a rubber top sole on the bottom. So this is where my very first shoe that I knew I wanted to bring was going to be the Haan Original Grand Wingtip Oxford, British tan or medium brown, dark sole. The dark sole is really important just because for dressing up, the dark sole is going to be a lot better than the white sole ones. The white sole ones are great. These are a great casual option. You could definitely dress up some casual fits, but once you start wearing a sport coat or a suit, that's where the limitations of these really start to get pushed, and it definitely looks more like you're wearing a pair of fashionable sneakers, whereas something like the darker colored sole, or even if you choose to get something like this in all black or in a much darker color, it's going to just allow you to dress them up a lot better, and they're going to look a lot more like dress shoes than just something like this. So I knew I had to bring something like this because I could dress this all the way up, but I also wanted to bring an extra pair, or a quote extra pair of walking shoes. And bonus for these is these are also very, very good in the rain. I've worn these in the rain for 2 or 3 hours and my feet did not get soaked. Of course, the shoes got soaked. I wouldn't want that, but those are two bonuses with these shoes. These are super comfortable. I've walked miles and miles and miles in them, and they're really good in the rain. So these could also substitute as a spare pair of walking shoes. So first pair of shoes, check. I know I'm bringing these, no problem. These are gonna be my nicer shoes. Awesome, right? Now for my second pair of shoes, I wasn't really 100% sure on what to bring, but we did check the weather and it looked like it was gonna be 10 to 15 degrees cooler, Fahrenheit that is, they're all in Celsius over there in Ireland. It was gonna be 10 or 15 degrees cooler than it was here in New York City. So I knew I wanted something that maybe was a bit more insulating. I also wanted to keep the theme of it was supposed to rain. It was like 50% chance of rain the entire time there. So I did opt to bring the Thursday Captain in the Whiskey Storm King color. You've seen my channel before. You probably heard me talk about this boot. It is my favorite winter boot. It's very comfortable. It's warm. It's pretty water resistant. My feet did get wet after wearing these in a monsoon in New York City, although I was wearing them for 4 hours. Keep that in mind. So what I did was I conditioned them. I threw some waterproof spray on them, or water resistant spray on them. And these were gonna be the shoes that I was gonna wear if it was cold, rainy. Plus we weren't really sure if we were gonna go on certain hikes. And with that lugged outsole, the Storm King outsole, that lugged outsole, really, really good for those off-road hikes. Now, another nice thing about the Captain Whiskey Storm King is since they are such a sleek style and they're not really too big and bulbous with, like some other work boots are, and even with that lugged outsole, that is a lugged outsole, but it is still pretty sleek and sophisticated. So I would be able to wear these to the wedding, no problem. Now, would it be as nice as something like this? Absolutely not. These would be a lot more appropriate to wear to a wedding with a casual suit. However, this could stand in as an extra option if something happened to these. If the airline lost my luggage and I didn't have these, then these I could just very simply polish them up, throw them on, and overall they're still going to look pretty good. Should you do it on a normal occasion if you're going to a wedding an hour from your house? I wouldn't. I would always pick a dress shoe or dress boot. I wouldn't even dress shoe or dress boot. I wouldn't even get something like this. But when you're thousands of miles away, you got to make some compromises. So once I had this in mind, I was really excited to bring this because it's just a do everything boot that you can dress all the way up to a casual suit. So these are going to be my two main shoes I was going to wear most of the time. And we weren't really sure what we were going to do as far as luggage. We were going to just try to bring 2 carry-on suitcases, but we did opt to check 1 big bag and then just carry 1 small carry-on luggage onto the plane. So we did have some extra room. So I thought to myself, and this was pretty much at the last day before we left, we were all packed. I did want to bring just something a bit more comfortable, a bit more friendly for walking around, a bit more convenient. And that's where I decided to go with the all black Adidas Ultra Boost. As far as running shoes, athletic shoes, these are my absolute favorite athletic shoes. They're comfortable. They're not big and bulky. You see how sleek they are? They're not big and bulky. I used to have a pair of Asics that just the toe just looked big and blocky. So they are pretty sleek and stylish. They're still a running shoe though, so it's really hard to dress these up. These I cannot wear, or I would not wear them to a wedding. I don't care how far I am away from home. I pretty much only wear these with jeans and shorts. I don't even wear any type of khakis or type of cotton chinos with these. But since these are super convenient, since I keep them tied pretty loose and I can just slip them on and off, and they're also pretty lightweight, I just took them, put them in a plastic bag, crunched them down like this, threw them in the suitcase, and overall I was good to go. So I was really happy that I actually bought these because these are super, super comfortable. Now, another reason that I was really hesitant on bringing these is because since it was supposed to be pretty cold and it was supposed to be raining, like 50% chance of rain, these are no good in the cold because they're meant to be breathable. And these are also no good in the rain as far as keeping your feet dry, my words escape me sometimes. But the good thing here is if these shoes did get soaked, they only take about 12 hours overnight to just dry them out and then you're good to go. Only problem with that is if it's cold, now you've got cold, wet feet. Not really the greatest thing, not the most healthiest thing. You're probably gonna catch a cold if that happens to you. But since I already had something for the cold, wet, rainy weather, and I also had something that also works well in the cold, wet, rainy weather, I felt like I was covered, and I felt like I definitely was able to just throw these in the bag as a just in case. These were the shoes that I bought with me to Ireland. Now, which shoe did I wear the most? Well, I thought I was gonna wear the Thursday boots a lot. Actually, I didn't wear these. I pretty much only wore these on the plane ride there and the plane ride back. And I only wore these on a Friday night to a rehearsal dinner and to the Saturday, which was a wedding. Which means that the shoe that I actually was not going to bring in the first place, these are the shoes that I wore 95% of the time. Now, why is that? Why would you think, why would I do that? If I had an awesome pair of boots like this, why wouldn't I wear these? If I had an awesome pair of shoes like this, why wouldn't I wear them? Why did I just go the easy route and just slip on a pair of all black sneakers, especially since I try to dress stylish pretty much all the time. I always, if you watch my channel, you know the way that I dress. It's very predictable and just try to look as good as I can with also being as practical as I can. And that's kind of a bit of a hint of why I did this. These shoes were my backup plan. What happened was the Thursday boots, love my Thursday boots. I wore these, we flew out 6 p.m., JFK, Queens, New York City airport. Wore these for basically almost 24 hours straight. What ends up happening when I wear these shoes a lot, and I'm doing a lot of walking and sitting, something happens when I sit down. The weight of my feet just kind of goes onto my heels, and it actually does start to bother my heels. I think I have some sort of plantar fasciitis. I got to get to a podiatrist, but I did notice that if I'm wearing these for 10, 12 hours and I'm doing a lot of walking and a lot of standing, my heel starts to get a lot more sore than it would if I was in a pair of cushy soled shoes like the sneakers or the hybrid shoes, the Haans that I just showed you. So that's something that I really did notice. Now on the plane ride there, not a problem at all. But then we had to drive about 4 hours after the plane ride. And again, driving, you're putting your heel right here and you're constantly hitting the gas, hitting the brake, hitting the gas, hitting the brake. This is when I really started to feel pain in my heel after wearing these boots for so long that I decided to we just pulled over and I just put these boots in the rental car and then I just slipped these on and my feet felt much better. Pair that with the fact that it never rained. It rained one day. It rained on our way back to the airport, back to New York. It rained on our last day there. And it was also very hot there as well. These shoes, between my feet getting too hot in them and between my feet just getting so bothered by wearing them for 24 hours straight on our first day there, I just decided to lean more heavily on the Adidas Ultra Boost, since while, yeah, I mean, there is a clear difference between the style of these shoes. This shoe looks 1,000 times better than this shoe, but I would not recommend anyone sacrifice the health of their feet, the health of their body. I'm not a big fan of recommending anyone do that. So while I do love the Thursday boots, when it comes to comfort, sometimes it just bothers me, and that's when I just have to think about my feet, think about my health, and put on something like this. Now the original Grand, I knew I wasn't gonna wear this all the time. I could have worn it more, but I did want to keep these. I polished these and shined them right before our trip. I also bought some shoe polish and a shoe rag just in case I needed to wipe off some scuffs. So I did want to keep these as nice as possible. So I purposely just left these in the suitcase until that Friday night rehearsal dinner and then wore them again for the Saturday wedding and reception. I could have totally worn them a lot more. These are a lot more stylish. I just didn't want to chance the whole getting them soaked the day before the wedding, getting a whole bunch of big gashes and a whole bunch of big scuffs on them that I couldn't remove since I didn't have all my shoe repair, all my shoe care stuff. But again, when you're thousands of miles away, you do have to make some compromises. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have just leaned on these for the colder weather or the rainy weather, since it didn't rain, but it very well could have rained. So I really didn't know, but maybe it would have been a better idea. So knowing what I know now and my experience now with bringing a pair of boots and barely ever wearing them and wearing the sneakers 95% of the time, what would I do? What would I bring? Well, I think it's safe to say that while I do love the boots when you're traveling for a week and you don't know what's going on, since these do bother my feet, I think it's safe to say remove the boots, because they just sat in the rental car the entire time. Which would leave us with the nice, comfortable hybrid dress shoes for the wedding and looking nice, and the everyday slip-on easy shoe. This could have very well worked, but again, if it rained a lot and it was super cold, these would have been pretty useless. So I'm not really sure that would have been the best option either. Now, something that totally could have worked, and this was actually my first choice, believe it or not, would have been to bring the same shoe just in two slightly different colors. This would have been the everyday wear shoe with the white sole. And if these get scuffed up, well, these would be the more casual sightseeing, bad weather, do everything shoe. And these, the dark sole ones, would have been the much nicer pair that I left shined up for the wedding. This is something that I was really thinking about, because where these shoes are super comfortable, they're almost as comfortable as the sneakers. This would have pretty much had me covered on all bases. The only thing I would have been sacrificing would be if we were really off-roading, or if we were really hiking off-road, I wouldn't have had that lugged sole, and the Thursday boots does keep my feet quite a bit warmer than something like a leather hybrid sneaker. But that being said, these are a lot more insulating than something like an athletic sneaker. So this is probably what I would try to do next time. Now, something else to throw into the mix is, I didn't realize this, but we were driving in a rental car most of the time. We did a lot of driving, which it was expensive, but I'm definitely happy that we did it. We're both happy that we did it because we got to see so much. And we didn't have to wait around for buses, taxis, Ubers, nothing like that. Keeping that in mind, if I did get cold, these would have been totally fine. And if it was raining, it's not like I'm standing in the middle of New York City with an umbrella and my feet would get soaked. That's how I deal with the weather. Those are the situations that I'm in when I'm home in New York, because I'm standing around a lot with an umbrella and a backpack when I go out, and my umbrella is not big enough to cover my feet, so my feet just get soaked. But living that car lifestyle, being in the car, this means if it rains, your feet aren't going to get as soaked because you're outside for a bit, and if it rains hard, just go back inside the car. So looking back, these two shoes could have done absolutely everything that I needed to do. I still did have a very good time wearing these shoes, although something that I would have done differently, since I really do enjoy these shoes, I have been wearing the dark top with the white sole. This is the same exact shoe, just in a bit more of a stylish color. I just find sometimes that the all black shoe, it just looks a little bit too much like you're trying to hide the fact that you're wearing sneakers, whereas the black on top, white sole on the bottom, this is a really nice look. I've talked about this before. I really like the look of this, so this kind of would have been a little bit more stylish than just wearing the all black. I'd probably keep these two as my main shoes and then do the same thing if we were going to be, if we had a lot of space in the luggage, I would have just thrown either this shoe or this shoe. I'm not sure which one I would throw in. Either one, they're pretty interchangeable. I'd probably throw the white colored sole. I've been liking the white colored sole lately, but at one point I didn't like these because they get dirty. I just like that one better. But I'd probably still try to make room for these, just because you never know if you're going to be walking for a long time. And if you're in a pair of shoes and your feet start killing you and you don't have a choice but to just keep walking, that is not a good situation to be in. You're definitely going to do some pretty significant damage to your feet and to the rest of your body. So those are the shoes that I bought to my Ireland trip for a wedding. Let me know if you like this video. As always, appreciate you watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.